Let us delve in. So primary activities. Primary activities are activities in your value chain that allow for value to be added to your product and service. Okay. So primary activities are value adding services or value adding activities. So take for an instance, you have an idea, all right, or you have a product. Okay. What are the different things that you can do to see how you can transform that idea into something that you could be paid for, or that product into something that people would demand for and exchange for money? Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I've been running my business over time and I have not really had to, separate primary activities, support activities, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. That is the reason why your business is where it is. Yeah, you heard me, because whatever you do not measure, all right, you cannot consciously cause to grow. If you do not measure, if you do not track your primary activities, you cannot control your primary activities to a point of excellence. All right, it's just like somebody that doesn't keep track of his customers. For an example, if you don't keep track of your customers, you cannot grow your customer base. If you don't keep track of your profits, you cannot consciously grow your profits. Okay, that's the same thing here. So if you do not keep a conscious track of your primary activities, you are not able to develop for your business an excellent business model. Not just an excellent business model, an excellent business process, an excellent business model. And that way you're not able to create a system. For example, have you ever heard them talk about the Coke recipe? It is a secret that has been kept. You see, it's a secret. Why? Because they were able to measure it and they've been able to track it in some way. All right. So that's for your primary activities. How do I transform that syrup into something that I'm distributing globally? What are the activities that come into play from that syrup into that liquid in the Coke bottle? That's your primary activity. Okay, so you must begin to track that. And then you have support activities. These are client facing activities. Okay, now in the value chain analysis, there are always two sides, the primary and the secondary side. The primary is usually the internal side, the secondary side is your client facing side. And these are activities that you must put in place in rendering your service to your audience or your market. Now we chose the word intentionally. Now we chose the word intentionally, and that word is your audience. Because you see, the social media today has been able to deceive a lot of people to think that followers is the same thing as audience. That is what you call vanity metrics. Vanity metrics, you're checking that, oh, I have 1,000 followers, I have 2,000 followers on Instagram, and you think that that has translated into having customers. Hello, sir? No, because those 2,000 people might not be paying you for your service. Matter of fact, it might just be 10 out of that 2,000 that are paying you. So it's just those 10 people that are your true audience. Okay, so support activities are activities that must be in place when rendering services to your audience. All right, and thank you for being in the Businessman series. I'm sure in one of our classes we're going to see how to connect with your true audience. An amazing speaker is going to be coming on the show and you are really going to love it. So your support activities must be in place. This reminds me of a certain time a friend and I, we went or a certain official assignment. So we're done. We stopped by a certain eatery, which I'm not going to mention for sake of privacy and stuff. And we wanted to grab ourselves a meal. And the sassiness in which the person who was attending to us spoke, we were put off immediately. And we say, hey, this is nonsense. And we walked away. All right. I've seen a lot of businesses, budding businesses that have such attitudes. All right. Poor support activities. All right. So after that, you have R&D. All right. That is research and development. And it's also focal for a company that is intended to stay for a long time. All right. To know when to tweak and when to pivot. And that will only come to you by researching. All right. You don't want to keep on selling a solution or selling a product that in the near future might become oblivious. All right. I like what companies like Shell and Total are doing. All right. So I began to study them, I think, early last year. And I see how that they understand that very soon the world is going to move away from, carbon-based fuels, carbon-based energy into cleaner technology. And what are they doing? They are beginning to invest in such spaces. They are creating wind farms. All right. They are creating solar farms, trying to see how to position themselves. So when it comes to a point whereby we do not need carbon-based fuel any longer, we want clean Clean Energy, Total, Shell, because of their research and development, they are positioning themselves for that time in the future. So if you're seeking to create a business that would last, you must be very intentional about your research and development. Research and development. And it's beautiful because for most SMEs, and by SMEs, I do not mean small and medium, I mean smart and modern enterprises, you have the leverage of quickly tweaking. You have the leverage of quickly taking a pivot. Okay, so it's important that you have good research and development. All right, and then the fourth cardinal activity that you must merge or bring into consideration is your branding and marketing, which is where you begin to position yourself as an industry leader in that your business space. All right, you must create a perceived sense of relevance. And allow me to make mention here: perception is more important than reality. Perception is more important than reality, because your perception in itself is your reality. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine that, I want to change my laptop. I want to use another laptop because I feel it's going to offer me more efficiency with what I want to start learning, what I want to start doing. And I told him I wanted to go for a MacBook. And then he began to convince me and say, why don't you get this HP laptop, or this laptop that has a 7th generation, this processor? And he kept on mentioning all the amazing, nice, things about this other brand. And when he finished talking, I said, well, thank you for your intellectual discourse. I will get myself a MacBook. So even if in reality, whether or not it's true that laptop he was selling to me was a lot more effective than the MacBook, but my perception of the MacBook has put the MacBook on a different pedestal. All right, so no matter what he says to me, I am uninterested. I am only concerned about getting me a MacBook. Why? Because that is my perception. And you see that whether objectively or not, that laptop is better than a MacBook, which is the reality, my perception has trumped. That's the same thing too with your business. I have people that will say, oh, I'm still going to keep on using this bank. Or, well, if you like, go to your new generation banks. I'm still going to keep on sticking with my old bank. Why? It is perception. Even if in reality, this other bank will offer them the same services even better. But because over the years, they have come to build a certain perception in their minds. This is what Coke has been able to do. All right, you see Coke's advertisement. Oh, when you're celebrating a promotion, when you're celebrating your retirement, Coke is there for you. You see those kind of things. What are they doing? They are creating a perception in the mind of the oldies. All right. Well, for Pepsi, you see the advertisements. People are playing on the beach. All right. Young people are having fun. So whether or not Coke is better or Coke is cheaper or whatever, most young people will go for Pepsi. All right. Whether or not Pepsi tastes nicer or tastes better, the older folks will definitely go for Coke. What is it all about? Perception. So let's delve in. So there are other 4 important variables which we need to talk about. That's your value chain.